Hello everybody, welcome to Rewrite Your Reality. I am your host Risa and this is Reality Creation. Awareness never repeats itself. Now, a lot of text on the video here, but I'm just going to ad-lib what the point of the story is. I think it's a little bit more fresher, then you get two different ideas of what's going on. Same idea, just expressed in another way. You see, we assume that our thoughts, our experiences, our conditions of living, our circumstances of living, that they all come with us. We have baggage from yesterday, last year, 10 years ago, but none of that's actually true. It's actually very simply observed, and it's comes from this idea of be still and know yourself as God. It's not even that. It's just be still and recognize what it is you actually recognizing. Be still and recognize what you are being aware of, what it actually looks like. What is it? Here's a very simple experiment. If you were to imagine yourself in a different time period that you are aware of, 10 years ago, 20 years ago when you were small, some moment that sticks out to you, and you imagine yourself, be that child version of yourself, and recognize something in this way. Is what I'm being aware of right now, this memory that I'm creating or experiencing or have called forth to re-experience if that's what I believe I'm doing. Is it actually the one that I experienced, that I believe I experienced? You know it's not. You know it's not because you, as this person now, you know when you were experiencing yourself as this, you were never thinking about anything else. You were never thinking about the version that you are right now as the older version. But you still have the same awareness pretending that you are this child now. You have the awareness that, hey, I'm actually creating this moment from what my now current beliefs, assumptions, and decisions of myself are, and I'm carrying them with me as awareness. I'm putting them into my physical self. Even if I'm 10 years old or 50, I'm putting those into my physical self right now. So I'm recreating my physical self, my physical surroundings with these assumptions, with these affirmations, with these decisions, with these choices, with these beliefs. You're doing that right now. Every single time you come to the knowing that I'm being aware of something, somehow, some way, you are automatically creating it unconsciously or consciously with those decisions, with those assumptions, with those affirmations, with those choices, with those beliefs. You're doing it automatically. So whenever you are remembering a past event, you are actually recreating it in the idea of how you are choosing to remember it. Either trying to remember it as best you can in the way you think it happened, creating it that way, or choosing to experience it in a different way. Yes, you'll say something like, well, I have a photograph of my 10th birthday that it happened like this. Yeah, that picture exists right here, right now. Your experiencing of it is the assumption of a version of a past that you are experiencing right now, that you call real more than anything else right now because you have a photograph of it. The awareness that I am all things, regardless of what I'm saying, I'm still all those things, regardless of whatever manifested physically in my awareness, that I am that past, that I am all pasts, because all pasts are nothing more than a memory. Whether or not I have physical proof of said memory or not, the memory, the factual existence of the idea of potentially having experienced this idea as an identity I am now, that factually exists. If it didn't factually exist, you wouldn't be able to contemplate it whatsoever. So the previous moment is actually never revisited because you can't revisit it because you're no longer that person. So the one that you are remembering, you never physically were at all. Any memory you have of yourself, no matter how nearby you believe that memory of your physical self is, you literally never were that physical self. It only exists as the present awareness of what is called the previous moment. That is another image. No matter what, no matter when, no matter what happened, no matter what you think, future-wise either, it's the same thing. No matter how far away you project your future image from right now to whenever, you never will be that person because they don't exist. It's an idea of who you are right now, because right now, again, in this now new moment, you are aware of more, so the version that you are imagining again, that's a different person. You're continuously unfolding here. So this person becomes continuously expressed differently, not the images. You're now, you're vertical, you're here and now of you. I am then is not merely a statement of your name, your identity, your true self. It is the activity of awareness expressing itself. Every thought, perception, emotion, memory, and circumstance is awareness knowing itself in a particular way. And that way is what you are consciously choosing to be aware of yourself in that particular way, as in I am everything. So rather than asking who was I, because I was never anything else but I am, it's actually more accurate to ask who is awareness, myself as awareness, expressing itself as now as that awareness consciously. Because identity is never actually carried from one moment to the next. The one moment and the next come from identity. So this doesn't make that. Identity is continually expressed in the present and is continually changing in the same present moment because you are being aware of more. And because you are being aware of more, your identity is aware of more. So if you consciously choose to be aware of more and define yourself by that awareness, that's what you are going to perceive because you made a choice to. Awareness expresses itself through thoughts, beliefs, assumptions, definitions, circumstances, and none of them are separate from awareness. You don't have a thing over there that contain all your beliefs, your assumptions, your whatever. It's you. You have infinite definitions. You're choosing to highlight the ones that you want to experience. You can imagine an entire list of things that just exist within you. And the ones that you are highlighting, I am this, I am that, I am whoever, that's your life now. That's what you believe yourself to be. It's like, no, but it's not changing. Right, cool, because you keep highlighting the I am not changing bit. They are the manner in which awareness presently knows itself. Because if you think about it like this, awareness is infiniteness. And from that infiniteness, you can experience the arrangement of your reality in any which way you desire. And that arrangement of any which way you desire is nothing more than the addition of more assumptions of what your life is now. So if you think about, just a simple understanding here for us to be on the same page. If you are standing in a room with just 4 white walls surrounding you, the assumption of I am in this room with a door is the manifestation of being in a version of the room with the door. I am in this room with a window. I am knowing the version of the room with the door and a window. It is different from having 4 walls. It is different from having 1 door. It is different from having 2 windows. It is a completely different new experience. And even the one I'm remembering with the 4 walls and the door and the 2 windows are all actually new every single time I'm being aware of it because I'm being aware of more. I'm being aware of another version of reality where I know it in comparison to knowing something else continuously over and over again. It's literally brand new in each and every moment. So if you were to be aware of a mountain, and that mountain may appear to everyone as a mountain, just as the sun appears to everyone as the sun, no one has the same experience of the mountain or the sun apart from their own awareness of it. One experiences the beauty of it, one experiences the geology of it, one experiences astrophysics, but ultimately, they're having their own experience of something they believe is objective, but it's the subjective experience of a subjective version of reality. That sun exists basically in their own head, in your own head, as a version of it, of itself. There's no objective version. The one you imagine is completely unique to you. You say, no, but there is the sun. Yes, and when you are imagining it, you are imagining a completely different, absolutely, it's an insane idea, but it really is an absolutely different version of it. You can't get away from it. You can't get away that you are having a subjective experience of something objectively, that's seemingly objectively there. I know, it's strange. Like if you imagine what the sun is or a mountain is, you know it's going to be different from what someone else is. It doesn't mean that if you walk, you will see a tree that's not there in someone else's experience. You creating the experience where you're both seeing the tree, but the experience that you are both having is completely and utterly different, because the experience is how you define it. So no matter how similar, the experience is inseparable from which point of view awareness is taking from either yourself or someone else. Experience is never independent of awareness. Awareness is itself in experiencing. Awareness is playing all the roles. It is creating something to look at and looking at it. Now, memory, as I said, is not a return to the past. If you were to imagine your 10-year-old self and start to be the 10-year-old self, you absolutely know this is not the way you experienced it when you were actually being a 10-year-old child, because you know that 10-year-old child had no concept of who you are right now. But because you do have a concept of who you are right now, when you are remembering that past event, you are remembering it with the current conception of yourself right now. You can't escape it. You can't get away from it. That means how you are remembering it, you are basically pretending to reenact what you think was real. And that too is an experience. The child you remember cannot literally be the one who you experienced being, because that one had no idea who you are. But you have an idea who you are. So when you are imagining it with the idea that you became this person right now. The person that you are imagining becomes who you are right now in the same exact moment, because they won. And then when you change the moment, as in you continuously unfold another moment automatically, when you're remembering that child, that's the one that became you. In a year's time, you're completely new, different, absolutely, utterly. When you're remembering the 10-year-old child, that's the one that became you. In the same moment, there's no delay between the child, the you, and the whomever you want to be, but that child doesn't actually grow up to be the future version of who you're imagining. All of it's happening now, because they're only images that give context to itself. Who you imagine yourself to be right now is who you are unfolding as, not in time to a future, but as a version of yourself defined as awareness, creating that from right now. Memory is not retrieving the past. It is expressing what is presently known as now as the past that makes sense to you, or how you choose to make sense of it from who you are being right now. If you're clumsy, you're going to remember, oh yeah, I remember tripping down and I was clumsy. That version, you never existed. You never were it physically. It's an image. And when you move to the idea, well, if all images of my past exist, I'm always that version of myself that I desire to be. So when I'm aware of a version of myself in the past, in my current experience of presentness, in my future, all of those me's are one me, and I'm that me right now. That's what's unfolding. And every single moment, I'm going to be more aware of it. Now, conditions operate the same way as memories. They are memories. You're remembering a condition. The condition exists within the memory. It's not a separate thing. So when you say, I've always been this way, that's experience. That's referring to an experience where you have actually continuously recreated the image of having always been this way. The present awareness includes a memory called always. For example, if you took a photograph of a broken light and you try to imagine the light not being broken in that photograph, it's a different photograph that you are imagining. And if you keep looking at the one with the broken light, you'll say the light was never fixed. And that light is never fixed. That light exists just like that as a broken photograph of it. It stays just like that. It doesn't change, doesn't go anywhere. It actually never had a fixed version of itself. It was made broken. Look, think about that. That's amazing, right? If you took a photograph of a broken light, there's no previous moment of the photograph where the light was fixed. The light wasn't broken. But I had the awareness and I remember the light not being broken. Yeah, that's a completely different, utter utterly different reality, the unfolding of it gave it context, but it perpetually exists as a broken experience of that light bulb. It was made broken in that way. We moved realities shifting, and then the shift occurred as it was whole and then broken. So the whole one and the broken one are completely different appearances of reality. The linear experiencing of it breaking that gave itself context. But in reality, both exist at the exact same time. And one doesn't become the other. It unfolded the experience from identity, giving the illusion that one became the other. For example, we can just to like backward create this. You don't have to create the light bulb fixed. You can create the light bulb broken on purpose because you want a broken light bulb for whatever reason, for the idea even. Now, we've never started with a fixed light bulb. We always had a broken light bulb. That's the point. When you are imagining something, you're never starting with somewhere else coming here. When you're imagining, you are here, the context is created. You don't have to worry about the context being created. Just be who you are want to be, and that's the context. Every memory, it is experienced through awareness that exists right now. It cannot literally be the same experience because awareness is no longer expressing itself in the same way. It's no longer knowing itself in the same way. When you're imagining being 10 and you know you're 50, you're imagining being yourself as 10, knowing you're 50. So it can't be the same one because that 10-year-old you, when you were experiencing it, was never experiencing yourself knowing you are 50 at the same time. But you are now, so it must be different. Now, redefinition, redefining, reaffirming. This does come from the idea, even rewriting, does come from the idea that there was a previous old self continuing into the present. That's not true. When I say rewrite, when I say redefine, when I say revisit, re-understand, redefine, whatever, yourself. It's not replacing an old identity. It is rewriting who you are right now under the assumption, yes, you had previous definitions of yourself, but now blank slate, and you are rewriting what those definitions of yourself are. You are redefining who you are right now with the understanding that you must have had a previous iteration of yourself and conditions and choices and beliefs of what you are right now. That's your world. That's the world you live in. You automatically have these. Cool. Blank slate. You're a blank slate now and you are redefining yourself as this. From I'm defining myself as this now. So it's either I'm defining from a blank slate or I'm redefining knowing I'm brand new right now again. Either way, it's the same thing. So appearances are experienced, never denied. You don't have to ignore it. And I really don't like this idea of, I'll just say it plainly, right? Let's say you have a specific person. And you see a specific person talking on the phone, holding someone's hand. You see an Instagram picture of them with somebody else at some party or whatever it is, popular one. And then you try to make a story that's more pleasing to you in the moment. And here's the thing. You don't believe that story more than the one you initially thought. You're trying to not believe it because you're trying not to make it real, because you don't want it to be real, because you want it to be the preference, and you want it to be the preference so you can have what you want. You don't need to do that. I don't even like doing that because in some way it's giving the alternative power that you need to try and take away that power in order for you to have what you want. Saying, oh no, they're not together, that's just his cousin or her cousin or whatever they are. But you don't believe that. And even if it was true, it still gives the alternative, which also exists right now, power. It has none. So even if you're looking at a person who is actually in a relationship and you have the idea, the thought, the belief that, okay, what I'm looking at is a person in a relationship with another person, even if it isn't that, I'm being aware of the story as that number one thought that I'm having. I don't have to deny that. I'm reality. And there's a cool loophole hack, but it's not really a loophole hack, it is actually true. And that's why you can believe it, that's why you can understand it. Is that I am all reality. I am all conditions. I am all experiences. I am all possible potential experiences. So while I'm seeing and believing and knowing a thought more powerfully than any other, and I'm feeling it more powerfully than any other, I know it has no more power than any other. None of it exists independently. I'm choosing to remain as I am, as the knowing that no matter what thought I believe is so powerful, I know it has no power, and I know all potential of it exists. So if I'm seeing the potential or believing the potential of what I want, not physically there, another physical idea of what I don't prefer is there, that's fine. I don't prefer it, but I'm making a choice to know all potential, and I'm choosing my potential that I simply desire to be, without denying anything. Even if the appearance is not even what it is, even if it's just the thought of what it is, I don't have to try and change that thought. I'm just choosing from a higher point of view that everything exists, including what I'm thinking, including what it might be, including what it might be not. None of that matters. I'm choosing I am all appearances, all understanding, all reality, all inclusive. And from that inclusion, I'm choosing who I am. So, and then you end up never trying to force the circumstances to change. You're never forcing the picture to go away. You're never forcing people to not hold hands. You're never forcing the idea that I'm believing and thinking so hard that this person is in a relationship with whomever. I don't have to pretend or bluff myself or convince myself it's something else, or that I need to change the thought itself. And this can be for anything. If you're looking at a bill that you can't pay, it's not about you looking at the bill and trying to think, or not trying to think that I need to think something else about holding this thing and I can't pay it. It's not that. You can look at it and say, yeah, I'm having the thought and I'm having the experience, I'm being in the circumstance, I can't pay this thing. I don't have the money to pay this bill. That's it. That is what that story is. That is what I'm thinking. That is what the current circumstance of what my experiencing of my life is. That is that. I don't have to pretend otherwise. I don't have to pretend that this bill was given to me by accident, when I don't believe that. I can acknowledge what I do believe completely, utterly, fully, and what I'm thinking full on, because I'm doing it from the understanding that I am all potential, and this is just an experience of that potential. And I'm choosing to recognize that awareness, that every thought is new in my awareness, that every memory is new, every condition is new, every identity is new. So every single moment, it is a new moment of it. And I get to define not what's here in the physical. It's already manifested. It doesn't matter. I know I have a billion different thoughts about every little thing that moves. I'm choosing to define that which is not moving, my own awareness. My own awareness that is consciously choosing to be who and what I desire from everything. That's who I am now. So this bill, it's here. It's only here as a story. I'm the version of myself who always has the money to pay this. I'm the version of myself who's always in the relationship that I desire. I'm the version of myself who obviously people come to my office because I'm in the career that I want. I am always, and I am the reality of what I want to experience, because I am the reality of what I want to experience. I don't have to deny anything. I don't have to pretend I don't have to pretend that I'm not thinking what I'm thinking about it. What appears to continue is the present experience of my own continuity as reality. The past exists only as it is presently known from here. The future exists only as it is presently imagined from here. Awareness is never traveling from past to present to future. I have to do that on purpose because I realize halfway it may not look good on camera. Awareness is continually expressing itself as a present experience of itself. Every moment is therefore original. Isn't that cool? You are the original moment of this now moment. You are the origin and the originality, and it is the originalness of it. Isn't that cool? I think so. Every definition is original because it's one of a kind. It's I am. Every time you say I am, it is now here in this moment. It is original. It is one of a kind. It is the first time you said it. It is the last time you will say it that way. Isn't that amazing? I don't know. I find that amazing. Every experience is awareness, knowing itself new. Like that. All past, all future, all present, all existing in a now. Remember that now is the combination of past, present, and future. And every one of those nows are all happening now, because every past, present, and future is all happening now. That's why we get the idea of parallel universes, but they're not really parallel, they're right here. Just like the screen, all the images are in the same place. It's just that the hard drive knows, or the server knows, or the computer knows where the address and what it must be. So knowing is far more powerful of an experience than just having the physical packing of it. Because the physical packing is still a knowing of how it's packed, but knowing can just know infinitely where stuff must go in its expression of it. So I am your imagination. It's all reality, and of the all reality, what you're contemplating becomes your physical, focused, pinpointed moment, and that moment's always changing because what you are imagining is always slightly different or drastically different. And it's all happening within I am awareness. So I am awareness is being all of it. I am awareness is the nature of everything that you are experiencing and not experiencing simultaneously. Because if you have infinite blocks of now and one tiny block of physical reality, which one do you think is bigger? The unseen. There's more in the unseen than you will ever know compared to what you think you know about the seen reality. What you think about reality and how, and every little which way you think it works. Well, men are like this, women are like this, relationships are like this. People from this country are like this. People in my friend group are like this. My personality is like this. People who interact with me with personality is like this. My career is like this. The experience I need for this experience is required like this. The way I train is like this. The way other people train is like this. What they do, blah, 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 blah. Every single thing you know about reality pales into comparison to what you actually could know about reality. Because it will only ever be 0.0001%, because you're talking about infinity. So believe whatever you can contemplate of it already is there, from personality to expression to anything, because it's all I am awareness. There's no limitation to it whatsoever. So go to that. Thank you so much for joining me. I am Reese. This is Reaction Reality with Reese. Much love, much light. Thank you for the comments, for the liking, for the sharing, for the joining, for the joining of the TikTok page, for joining of the Facebook page, for the emails of your questions and blah, 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 blah. Much love, much light, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Bye.